So welcome everyone. We do have quite a large number of people actually attending today's session. So just to make it easy on everyone, we're going to say everyone stay muted unless you've got a question, because the background noise can be quite overwhelming at times. But by all means, this is an interactive session. If you've got questions, if there is something you're trying to do, by all means ask that question. So I really want you guys to walk away from today knowing exactly what you're trying to achieve in Xero. So we're accountable. So we work alongside small business owners to actually help them grow their business. So we are Xero Silver Champions as well as Attains agents, and we're also Silver certified Silver bookkeepers with the New Zealand Institute of Bookkeepers. You get my drift. So this is us. So we're a small team. So we sort of specialise very much in that startup small business space. This is me and Natalie, and we've got another one that I don't have a photo of yet. But we do bookkeeping, financial accounting, which is just that compliance stuff. It's not a huge part of what we do because there's very little value in actually giving you a set of financial accounts that are past due date. We do a lot of business development work, so helping you understand where your business is going. And we actually have SOS groups, which are sort of like support groups for small business owners. And this is a monthly accountability group where if you set goals, you have to actually achieve them and then come back and tell everyone. Peer pressure is a fantastic thing when you're trying to grow a business. Our specialty is businesses in financial difficulty. So we're sort of expecting to become quite busy over the next 6 to 12 months, unfortunately. My background is I'm ex-IRD, so I used to be a debt collector for Inland Revenue and prosecuted companies for non-payment PAYE. And then I jumped ship and became a company liquidator and investigated bankruptcy. So we've got a lot of knowledge in that space, and we can actually help small business owners. A lot of accountants actually refer their clients through to us, and then we actually work with those clients and solve all the problems. They stay with their accountant, but we can actually help the people understand where the holes are in their business and fix it up and negotiate outcomes with IRD. So today what we're going to do, just because there are so many of you, you'll notice that down the bottom of your screen there's a chat function. If you feel it is better to just put your comment in there, then I should see it and we can deal with it. Otherwise, just unmute yourself. But for the bulk of today, we'll all stay muted, except me, because that'll be really boring if I mute myself. So we're going to get out of this, and we're now going to go to Xero. Find my screen. So do you guys all play in the demo company? There you go. We're now looking at Xero. Everyone nod. Yep, cool. Okay, I don't know why it's doing that. There. Now we're all looking at Xero. Right, okay. Do any of you actually go into the demo company when you're actually trialing new things? No? Okay, cool. So today I'm going to cover off some of the big fatal errors that I see companies actually do. And we're just going to cover off a few basic points that I see small businesses don't quite know about yet. But then we're going to start jumping into the reports and the budget side of life and how we can actually do things to give you better information on your business. So first of all, these are just a couple of, I apologise now if you know all of this sort of stuff, but these are a couple of things that I get asked all the time, so I thought I would just show you. So people sort of say, how do you allocate? And then so you would actually select both of those invoices, the box goes green, and then that's how we've actually taken that large sum of money to cover bulk invoices. One of the things that I see all the time, you'll see here, there's an invoice in the system for trucks and property management. But what a lot of people actually do, so if I just jump into here, this one here, so they go and do their invoicing, and they either write down, they use these boxes down here. There is no reason why you should use these boxes down here. But they'll do their invoicing, and one I saw that we cleaned up earlier this year was a fairly decent sized company. They were doing all their invoicing, he would get paid, so he would write in down here that he got paid. So let's say we got paid on the 1st of April and the money went into this bank account. That's great. So what that does is we've now said on that invoice that we've now been paid. So on the GST return, if you're a payments basis, that amount of money that you've now got is allocated to your GST return. If we now go to our bank account, because this is the demo company, it's not going to show me, but generally it won't actually come up with the payment. It will actually just leave it blank like that. So you've actually got to go hunting for that payment. And if I look further down here, so here's a payment here, and it's got 2 arrows. So if we actually just went, no, okay, so that didn't show up, we went to trucks and property management, this is rent, it then would have actually allocated another lot to our GST return. So therefore we've just claimed that expense twice, but we haven't paid it twice. That then actually throws out your bank account. So if we have a look here, these are all the transactions that we actually haven't reconciled. And some of these won't actually come through the bank. That's just stuff that's been put there by filling in the little boxes when you do invoicing or bills. Does that make sense? You're going to have to nod lots to make me feel better. So really keep an eye on these 2 figures. If these 2 figures are not the same when you're finished reconciling, it means that we've got a problem, and all you need to do is click status, and then it actually brings up all of those problem children at the top of your column. So then you can quite clearly see where the problem is. And it might be that you've actually reconciled, transferred money from one account to the other, and it was the wrong account. So if we just have a quick look at that. So when you're transferring money, it is quite a simple process. So here's a transfer here. So we're going to call this a transfer. And this has come from our savings bank account. And then I must have missed one. There it is. So that's all it is transfer. Choose the bank account that you want to transfer it to. And now they'll actually be sitting here to match. So you don't need to go to suspense and then back out. You don't need to go funds introduced and drawings. It is just a straight transfer. So is there any real questions? I think the only thing, the only other thing that we get asked about all the time is when people make part payments. So let's say Jacaranda Maple Systems, they have paid. So let's just pretend that this is their invoice here, and then you just go split. And then it chooses how much money, and then it takes that off the invoice and leaves the rest of it owing just by using that split button. So yeah, so just keep an eye on that sort of stuff. If you're doing prepayment, so let's say someone actually wants to pay you some money in advance, I'll just untick that. So this is clearly a deposit. So then you come further down, so you don't use box 1, you come down to box 2, receive money, and then up here, you've got received as. So this is a direct payment that would actually just go straight through. We can actually call it a prepayment, which then allocates this money to their account. But being a prepayment, because GST is applicable when you actually receive the money into your bank account, not when you actually invoice, it's when you receive the money you pay the GST. You need to do a prepayment if this is for an order that they're going to do further down the line. If they've just paid you money by mistake and you're going to be refunding that back out, you would then use an overpayment. So there is no GST payable on an overpayment. So just keep that one in mind. If you are going to do work and they've paid you a deposit, it's a prepayment. If they've paid you money and it was a mistake, it's an overpayment. So if we just jump into here and we'll go, this is an overpayment, that puts it into accounts receivable with no GST. So we'll save that, reconcile that. Now, when I jump into our accounts receivable, here's our Jacaranda Maple system with our $2,000. So we actually don't want this money and we're going to pay this back out to them. So let's just say down the bottom, this is about the only time you can use these boxes down here safely. Make a cash refund. We'll put in today's date, the bank account that it's going to come out of, and add refund. So now if I go back to that dashboard, and we go to our account transactions tab, so this one over here, you'll now see payment Jacaranda Maple Systems is actually sitting here waiting to be reconciled. So if there was a payment coming out of the bank account, so let's pretend that one there will be fine. And there's our payment there. So when you go and pay it out of the bank account, what I see a lot of people do, because it actually doesn't match automatically half the time, what I see people do is that they then, the money comes out of the bank, they go Jacaranda Maple Systems, $2,000, but they haven't actually reconciled this with the $2,000. So therefore your bank account gets quite messy, and so does the client's account. So if you're going to do that, make sure you're matching it to payments. So these little figures here are payments, and that's just invoices needing to be paid. Any questions on reconciliations while I'm here? We might as well cover it off while we're sitting in the screen. No, everyone's quite happy. Cool, I'll just jump into here and put that over there. Okay, right. So when we enter into invoices, hopefully you guys know all of this sort of stuff. So you've got two mailboxes in Xero. One which is here, so that actually puts things directly into your bills. And so here is one that I emailed through to myself last night. And so when you actually use this and you email it through with a PDF attached, you actually get all the pictures to come through. So Xero is a certified storage facility as far as IRD are concerned in the company's office. So you need to hold your business records for 7 years. If it's actually in Xero, you actually don't need to worry about paper files anymore. So you can upload all of your documents into Xero, and then that's it. No more ring binders. It's beautiful. So you email things through to that address. It brings in the pretty picture, and then you would just go through and enter the details, call it that for now, and approve it. And so on Outlook, we've just got an auto forward set up, so like a quick link auto forward, so that we just click on that button and it automatically goes through to Xero. So I did say that there's 2 email addresses. So there's one for bills. So if it's a bill, copy that and forward it through to your email address and just fast forward through. The other option is files. Files is actually really fantastic. And in here, see, this is one that we emailed through yesterday. In here, you can actually create folders. So let's say this is end of financial year 2020. So if there's documents that your accountant needs, you can just email it into this email address, and which is right there, so copy that one. And then you can just send stuff into here and store things. I like to put in here if there's mortgage documents, if you've got insurance documents, any of those really important documents that when something goes wrong, you've got to go hunting for, load it up and actually put it into here. Because if you're lying on a beach in Fiji and something goes wrong, you can then just look at your Xero app on your phone and actually pull down all these documents without having to go hunting. So it's right there at your fingertips. Your accountant always asks for that information anyway. So if you've actually got it uploaded into your files inbox, you've got ease of storage, and your accountant also doesn't need to speak to you. So hopefully your accounting fees might be slightly lower. But that's really handy in here. We've got clients using this for timesheets. So all of their timesheets are actually stored into here. All their, depending on your security settings and stuff like that, you might like to have employment contracts. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you could actually have in your files inbox. So with that, does anyone actually use files? No? Okay, this is really cool. So you can actually just fire stuff through and click on the little link and add to bill, add to sales invoice. You can do this as a receipt, all sorts of stuff. So if we go into here, go add to bill, brings up, oh no, that's the next thing I was going to show you. Let's just go back a bit. This one, add to bill. And so once you've actually done this a few times and you've sort of got the same people that you're working with all the time, that. And eventually it comes up with just get rid of that one for now. If I now go and enter a new bill, and then it brings up add last item. So if you're doing the same thing for people all the time, you can actually just go add last items and it actually pre-populates it all for you. So therefore it's actually keeping things really easy. Okay, so Xero is, I've just got a comment here. So Xero is not all about GST. So we're going to get into the report writing. This is just how to enter stuff and reconcile. So that add last items is really cool, and you've got that on both bills and invoices. Saves heaps of time. And if we were in here and you hadn't actually sent it through, but you wanted to actually pick up your documents from, say, OneDrive or Google, you can actually just click from here and upload files and pick things up that way. So you don't need to email it through, you can just upload it from your computer. So with that, we'll jump into reports. How many of you actually run reports? Many of you, or not really? Would like to? Okay. So this is your, these are your reports, and just a couple of things that people don't actually realise that they've got. Oh, actually, I'm just going to jump into settings. If you've got staff or other people using your Xero, or you've got husbands using your Xero, you may want to actually have a look at this one. So go look for advanced settings, assurance dashboard. And if you put a little star beside it, then it's going to come up on your favorites list, which I'll show you where that is shortly. So this actually shows you who's been actually in your Xero subscription and what they actually did and how long they've been there for. So you can actually jump in here and you'll see how often your accountant's actually in your Xero subscription. And it will have a list of everyone. So you can see here on the 7th of April, I did all of those things. So you can sort of see exactly who's doing what. Bank accounts, this actually tells you these are all the transactions that have actually been deleted and by who, and the reason why. And if someone's actually got the same bank account as, so let's say you've got 2 suppliers and their bank account is the same, then that's going to show up on here as well. So let's just say one of your employees' bank account is the same as one of your suppliers, then that's going to notify you that you've actually got a problem. And here is all of your contacts, contacts with the same bank account, contacts whose bank account has been edited. So this is really, keep an eye on it if you've got employees. And the reason I say that was investigating bankruptcies. You know, we had employees that had not been so great to their employers and had actually changed bank accounts of suppliers so that they got the money instead of the suppliers. So really, this is quite a good tool to see what's going on in the background. And then these are all the invoices. So you can go right back 365 days. These are all these invoices that have been entered late. So then you can go back and look why, and gives you just something to keep an eye on. So now if we go to reports, and I said before that there was that favorites dashboard. So this is it here. So if you'd put a star beside it, it's actually going to sit in here. So if you use a report regularly, put a star beside it. So in here, you've got a few things. Some of you might like pretty little graphs. So you've got business performance. And so you've got some graphs in here that actually tell you what's happening and that sort of stuff. If you like some of these things, so let's say we want to keep an eye on our current liabilities, our net profit on sales, and our gross profit, then that will actually now appear on our dashboard. So every time we actually come into here, we can see exactly what's happening. And very shortly, there we go. So these will just sit here so that you can actually see real time exactly what's happening if you're one of these people that likes to see graphs. So that's really quite a cool tool. Go back to reports. So profit and loss, this is the main one. Oh, actually, before we do that, I'm going to jump into Budget Manager. How many of you have got budgets entered into Xero? Not many? Okay. So Budget Manager sits here, straight underneath your balance sheet. And it's actually really quite simple to use. You may decide you need to run a budget, but you don't know what figures that you're actually wanting to use. So go back and go, right, I want, okay, April 2020. that one. But I want 12 months of actuals. And then you can actually export this out. And so this is everything that we've actually done for the last financial year. So then if you decide, okay, well, that looks fairly good to what we're actually going to do, or I think I can grow on this, then you can just tweak these numbers and upload it back again. Or you can come into here, we just want to go no actuals. And so here we've got, say, $7,000. Click on your little green button. And so we can have $7,000 a month, or you can adjust that amount by, say, let's go 5.5. Oh, whoops, 5.5%. So then that's now going to take that amount, and every month it's going to adjust it. We can go here, and we're going to adjust it by $50 every month. And so then it's going to put it all in. Or we can actually just go bank fees are going to be the same every month. And then save that. So then that's as simple as actually getting your budget into Xero. So we can see we're aiming for between $535 and so we're now forecasting to make a profit of $30,000. So that's what we've currently got sitting in Xero. And that's just by filling in those boxes. You may have various things, so we just want to put in, there's a $2,500 trip in December 2020. So you don't need to have things in every single box. So that sits under reports, and that is under financial reports, budget manager. So the key thing now is to actually go in and create a report that you can read that actually makes sense. So here's our profit and loss. And so everyone's actually got the ability, when you actually sit here, you'll see the little edit button up in the corner, or you can actually click edit layout down here in the bottom. So this is the background of our report. If we now want to go and run a report comparing our monthly sales to our budget, we can do that. And if we now want to run, what were we doing? Actually, I'm just going to move this back to February. Move that back to February. And now I'm going to move this back to February 2019 so that we can see what was happening a year ago this month. And then we can add in a year to date, but we'll do last financial year. But it's a monthly report, so that's why. Financial year, last year, and then we'll add in our budget. And let's see. Fingers crossed, I'm not technologically challenged too much. And so here we can actually see this is February. We'd actually budgeted $6,000. We did $9,812. February 19, we didn't operate, so that's all great. 2020, so far this financial year, we've done 27,000. Oh, but that's the, okay, so we'll just jump into here. And we'll move that back one. Come on, Xero. Huh, my internet's going slow. No. Okay, that didn't change. So, so you sort of can get the understanding of exactly how easy it is to actually work out exactly where you're at. What sort of information are you guys actually wanting to see in your reports? Any special people wanting to put their hand up? No? I think Michelle Lee's got her hand up, but so it's very much a case of you can go into here, we can add in stuff. If you've got, say, 10 categories of marketing and we only want one line, there, I'll go to there. And let's say we now want to go group selection. So I'm going to group our entertainment expenses. Put that into there as well. And we're going to call this entertainment group. And so down here, so we'll see that entertainment has now been grouped, that we've got these two different categories. When you want to, like, we could have that as a separate line. We jump back in. So if we come to our entertainment grouped one, we take off total, and we actually squash that back up. So you can just click and it unfolds, or you can click it and it squashes all back in again. And now it's just in here. So you can now click on that figure and it will actually show you exactly what's in there. But if you've got multiple things that you need to see, but you don't want to have massive big reports, you can actually just squash them up like that. And then down the bottom, we can actually add in, this is what all of that looks like. Is any of that going to be valuable to any of you? Actually knowing how to design your own reports? You can go into here and go, let's add in a percentage column. So some boards and things like that like to have, if we go formula, we're going to do that divided by that. Oh no, there wasn't anything in that one. That work. Divided by that one. Show as a percentage. The only problem when you're changing things, Xero goes a little bit slower when you're working with profit and losses. Oh, exactly. You don't actually need an Excel spreadsheet. This is so much easier. And the beautiful thing, so like here we've got our budget here. We actually don't want that there. So all you need to do is click into here. Drag and drop columns. So we want this one and we want to put it here. And so that's all it is. If you want to move this one to at the beginning, you can. So you just move them around to suit. You can actually do that with these ones as well. So I want insurance sitting up there, and I want motor vehicle expenses under interest expense. I don't know why, but some people like to see things grouped in different ways. And so here we've got our February budget, and you'll see that everything is actually moved around. So you can actually design how you want to do this. Spend some time up front to get that right information, and then save as, call this a custom profit and loss, today's one. And so now when you actually go into your report, you can actually run, go to custom. Here is our profit and loss from today, and you can just run that. So you're running the same report every single month. You're not having to go in and redesign it. I want to now look at this report, but we'll do it for last quarter. And so then it actually works all the figures out for me. So once you've designed it and you know what information and what format it actually looks good in, then you can actually go and design it and then just use that. So you're not having to recreate the wheel all the time. And no spreadsheets required. One of the beautiful things I love about Xero, do any of you use tracking? No? Okay. So what we can see when we go and do bills to pay, Xero has tracking in the background. So if we've got, say, sales, and you've got different categories that you actually want to track. So like here, set up in the demo company, we've got regions. So we can actually see east side, north, south, west coast. So we're going to go, this is a north one. So just as an extra tick when you're doing things, let's go to here. And we'll go that, we'll put that in as north as well. So now when I go and run our profit and loss, I can actually go into here, go into there, and if I go to report settings, and so you've now got your tracking sitting in here. So I now only want to run a profit and loss for north. Oops, take that off, and go left. Fingers crossed. So this is my profit and loss just for north. So this has got my income for north, my cost of sales for north, and any other expenses. So I can have a profit and loss just for each different region. So it might be that you are selling t-shirts, hats and shoes. Then we would actually just split it up so that you've got tracking categories for all the different things that you want to keep an eye on. So you can actually run, I mean, this is quite good for rental properties. You can run a profit and loss per rental property with money coming in, money going out. The opportunities are endless when you actually look into what tracking can actually do for you and the amount of information it can give you. I'm just going to have a look at some of these questions. I haven't got Xero yet, but wanted to see what it can offer. It looks great so far. What are the legal implications if you have all your paperwork uploaded to Xero? Xero have actually got all the security involved, like you've now got the second factor identification, that sort of stuff. So they have guaranteed everyone that their server is secure. So your information is not going to be at jeopardy in any way, shape or form. And if you go and throw out all your paperwork, so I sort of say to people, go down the road to the petrol station, take a photo of your receipt, you can throw that one away. If in 4 years' time you decide that you don't want to be operating a business anymore and you shut down your Xero subscription, and 2 years later IRB comes along and says, we're now going to audit you with all your paperwork, we can just start paying for the Xero subscription and all of your paperwork is there. So you've got, you know, free shelves sitting at home and in the shed because you're not having to have paperwork everywhere, but it is actually still secure. Are there any good examples of best practice reporting? It very much depends on your business and what you're actually wanting. So that sort of stuff, flick me an email and we can actually have a yak around that, because what is good for one company is not necessarily good for another. Tracking could separate out product lines too. Yes, it could. However, you've also got your products and services, which are all sitting here, and they make life incredibly easy. And we can actually run individual reports based on what sells and what doesn't sell. If we go to reports and we go to inventory, we can go anything you like, sales by item. So sometimes you just need to think about this one a little bit more. I've got churches and we're using inventory for their tithing so that we can actually run a report at the end of the year based on how many donations they've made. So there are ways that we can use the system if you just think about what it is you're actually offering. And then so we can see quite clearly here that we've sold 40 units as well. So this is quite a good option if you've got stock. And most cloud operators offer 99% uptime. That would also include backups. Yep, so Xero actually do backups, so there's no issues there at all. What I'm going to do is jump in. Do many of you use the phone app? No? Okay. Bear with me one moment while I try and get this to work. Five, 6. So the phone app is actually really quite handy. I don't want that, but I do want to do this. Yay, look at that. So this is your phone app, which I highly recommend. Is actually really quite cool to work on. You can actually sit outside school while you're waiting to pick up the kids and actually just do some quick reconciliation, just by making sure that that's actually worked. If that is central parking, you can actually create a new transaction. So that was for say, transport. Click on that, and we're going to search for motor vehicle expenses. And then we can say, so that was a south transaction. Tick on the little tick at the top. and you've reconciled your transaction. So you can do everything that you want to on your phone app is what you can actually on the desktop. It also gives you an indication of your overdue invoices and what your bills are to be paid. And it also gives you that profit this year. So you can see at any point in time where you're sort of sitting. And if you click on that, it then actually gives you more of a breakdown as to where your expenses are. So you've effectively got a profit and loss in your hand at all times. And if you customize it, it tends to actually come up on the app. And then down the bottom, you can see cash in, cash out. So we can see that we've got a lot of money leaving our bank account and very little coming in. The thing I love about Xero is you can actually click on the plus at the top. You can create an invoice. Who's it for? So it was for ABC Furniture, dated today, and it's due in 14 days' time. Going to add an item. That was golf balls, and it was 3. And so once we've entered that, we're all good. And now if we've actually entered this client with all the details, we can actually send it to them direct from our phone. So if you're out and about and you've just met someone and they say, I would like to buy XYZ, and you go, sweet, well, I'll just do up the invoice. You can email it to them before you even leave the property. And then if you've actually set up a payment gateway, then you can get paid pretty much on the spot as well. So if you're going out delivering stock, you send them an invoice, they click on it, say pay now, and you can leave the stock, you're all good to go. You can do that with bills, receipts. You can enter a contact. So if you're out and you've just met someone new and go, right, I just want to capture your details, you can enter it all off your phone. But the key thing for me is files inbox. So click on the little 3 dots, take a photo, and just pretend, here's a lovely receipt. Okay, so when you're actually out and about buying your fuel and all that sort of stuff, then it's easy just to take the receipt, because you and I both know by the time you get 2 weeks in the track and go to do your reconciliations, these receipts are not going to be anywhere. So just take a photo, get rid of it, and move on. If you really want to, you can actually go plus receipt and actually enter it there. So it really does depend on how much time you've actually got available to actually do the entering.
Ah.
So that is really, really cool. So what we'll do is I'm just going to jump out of this one now. Oops, go out of that one. Oh, I know. That one. Click on that. Stop share. And I'm going to go back to here. So that photo that we took is now sitting right here. And so I can actually go to my screen, go to my dashboard. I've been down the road. I've gone to, where did I go? Cooper Street Bakery. So I'm going to enter Cooper Street Bakery, entertainment, and then you go add details. And then you can pick up that picture from here. Pick it up, attach it. And in here, you've got your region. So you can still actually do all your tracking categories straight from your reconciliation. And so there's your region there, right beside your GST. If you've got questions and you're not quite sure what to do about it, you can actually, on the Discuss tab, write a little note and then say to your accounts person or your accountant or whoever you're working with that there's notes in there, and they can jump in and they can reply to your comment, so then you can know what to do with it, or they'll just jump in and do it yourself. But it's really good to do that, because in 2 months' time when you're trying to do GST, it's like, well, why didn't I reconcile that? It's just easier to have a note to refresh your memory. So, is there any other questions in regards to Xero that you're dying to ask? Let me see, I think there was a chat there. Where'd it go? Yeah. We don't get the answer. How do you deal with a bill to pay that you only claim a percentage of? Brilliant. Yes, I can. So let's jump into here. So if you are doing a home office claim, let's just say this is power. In reference, always put in your invoice number because it just makes it so much easier. So you'd go power, that's business, and it would be 25% and it's $200. Power, power personal, and that would be 75%, $200. Oops. But it goes into drawing. So nice and simple. And then when we actually go and do your GST return, so we'll just jump into that one now. All right, come on. The joys of having all the children and the husband at home on internet. Everything goes slow. So if I jump into GST return, this preview period so far is absolutely awesome, and business owners don't actually look at it very often because it tells you at any point in time during the period exactly how much GST you owe. So I always say to people, jump in regularly every week, every 2 weeks, see how much money you owe and make sure you've got that money put aside. And then if we come down here, we should have, no, we won't have it because I haven't paid the bill. Perfect example though. Let's go to here. So I go, here's my power bill. So this is exactly what I was saying before. So we've now paid this today, and I've paid it from this bank account, add payment. So I have not paid this power bill yet. It still comes up on my GST return. Oh, no, it won't. Yes, it will. There it is there. So there's my payment of for power.
No one can fucking see anything.
Sorry, say that again. Can you show us how to fund the previous period tab, please? Oh, is there no screen share? Can you not see? Are you all able to see the screen?
No, haven't seen.
Yes, you can. Okay. Okay, cool.
I can see it.
Okay, so yeah, so here you've got that payment. So be very, very careful. My guy that we cleaned up earlier this year, a decent sized company, we whacked out $300,000 worth of sales that he hadn't actually received, but yet he'd paid the GST on $300,000 worth of sales because on his invoices he'd been saying I got paid, And then in his reconciliation, he'd said that he actually got paid through that way as well. So really keep an eye on this one. You can overclaim and you can actually overpay very easily. One of those other questions was, how do I fix things up without stuffing it all up? So if it's one transaction, let's say, we'll look at this, click on that, it reopens it back up. So this should actually be our invoice number in here. You can do certain things. So we go edit, and we can change coding, that sort of stuff. We can't change the GST. You need to remove the payment. So we go click on the payment and go remove and redo. And then you can actually edit it all your heart's content and change whatever you like on it. If you have, however, made, say, 100 transactions that are actually all wrong, you do have the option of find and recode. This is something, always use this with, after a conversation with your accountant, where you can actually go into here, add a condition, so let's just say it's sales, and then it brings up all the transactions for that particular period. So if we want to do, say, this one, this one, this one, that one, and we want to recode it, if you're going to do this, always recode source transactions. Don't recode with a manual journal because it gets really messy. Always recode source transactions. And we want to, well, let's say we actually don't want to have GST. So that's no GST, those ones. And so we've just gone through and recoded all those transactions and taken off the GST. So that's a very simple way, but just talk to your accountant or your bookkeeper first. Otherwise, they will hunt me forever. What if you've overpaid a bill by, say, $20 and you want to match the payment in your bank to your Xero, but it is over the amount? Perfect. So let's go into here. And we'll find and match. So let's say that this, no, I'll do it the other way around. This 1181 is actually to pay central copiers. So we've actually overpaid that one. There's a difference of 1,117. So we go new transaction, spend money, overpayment. So it'd still go to that person and then save that transaction. And so now when we go and enter a bill for Truxton, add last items, and we'll just go that, and then what it will do is it will come up down the bottom where you've actually got outstanding credit. So then you'll allocate that to this invoice. So the oh, look at that. There's not enough on that invoice owing. One of the other key things too is when you're actually doing that sort of stuff, what was I thinking? Gone out of my head. So yeah, so there's various things you can actually do. Yes, you will. If you are using foreign currency, you are better to go for that Xero premium. If, however, you are buying a one-off, or say every 6 months you're buying something from America, upload all the paperwork into Xero, but use the dollar version. So there's no point in actually paying $70 a month for the premium version if it's only occasionally. So use your New Zealand dollar transactions, but upload all the American paperwork to actually go alongside to accompany that transaction. Any more questions? So I'll just jump out of here for a minute. Go back to here. So what we can actually do to help you is, go to that one. I'm not having a good technological day today. I'm really not. Go to that. Go to that. Go to the, click on that. So if you want us to actually have a look at your Xero subscription, we can actually jump in and do a health check for you. So that is where we'll go through and itemize, find all the problems that, and give you an idea on how you can actually fix them. Sometimes that's just a really good way to know that you're doing everything right. But I always say to people, you know, if Xero's taking you too long, the chances are you're doing things wrong, and there is possibly an easier way to actually make things work for you. We can actually give you 3 hours Xero training. So if you want to sit down with us and we can go through your business and work out how Xero could actually support you better, we can actually do that in a 3-hour block. Or we can actually work with you over a period of 3 months. So that's where you can learn all the new bits and pieces. We come up against a problem, something happens in the business. How can we actually use Xero to benefit us now with this particular issue? So those services, the training is actually available through the Regional Business Partner Network. If you haven't actually had much to do with the Regional Business Partner Network, I highly suggest that you investigate that one further. They provide, so if you are trading in your business and have less than 50 full-time employees and you are GST registered, you are eligible for funding up to $5,000 a year to increase your skill base in business. So that might actually be support with HR, it might be health and safety, you might need someone to help you with a marketing strategy. So there is a lot of support there. So make sure that you investigate the Regional Business Partner Network, and we can actually help with Xero training. So what that generally means is you get up to 50% funding. So if you decide to do a course of $1,500, the government will pay $750. And so it makes it really quite simple. We can also just have a proactive accounting meeting with you, which is where we can actually sit and have a chat with you about your business and what your opportunities are, and sort of point you in the right direction to actually get some growth strategy happening. Can you tell me what advantages Xero has over MyOb? Okay, I'm going to actually put in a disclaimer here. I'm a 100% Xero firm. I used to actually operate my business on MyOb, and any client that I actually get coming over to us, we convert to Xero really quickly. The reason being, if there is a mistake in MyOb, it is incredibly hard to fix it. What I find, especially because we work a lot with small to medium enterprises, it is not incredibly intuitive, so we find a lot of errors actually are created by small business owners trying to do their own work. There is a space for MyOb, and it very much is personal preference. I prefer Xero, and the reason why I say that is we've gone in into clients and taken a 40-hour job, 40 hours a week job, and reduced it down to say 10. Just by actually improving the systems that we operate with. it very much is dependent on what you're wanting to do in your business. So don't look at Xero and think this is the be all and end all. You actually work out what is actually best for your business. It is incredibly simple. It is incredibly easy. One of my guys came to me, he referred to himself as a dinosaur, and literally he had only just learned how to send email when he came over to us. He was using MyOb and his accounting bills were actually through the roof. We converted him and put him onto Xero within probably 8 to 12 weeks. He was running his entire business with Xero, and his accounting bills have actually dropped significantly because he's not making the errors. And as you can see, it's incredibly easy to fix problems if you do actually have them. So that's probably one of the big benefits there. So definitely check out that demo company if you want to play with anything, by all means. And if you've got any further questions, or you just want us to have a look and actually give you peace of mind that everything that is in your Xero is actually right, by all means get in touch. I will be uploading this to our website later on this afternoon, so you will be able to refer back to it and watch it in slow-mo. So yeah, it is very much a case of just get in touch with us. I am very much brutally honest. If I think you're doing something wrong, I am going to tell you, but we're going to tell you what you should be doing, which is what I think most small business owners need. But if there's no other questions, I will let you carry on with your day, and yeah, get in touch if you need anything.
Thanks, Hayley. Brilliant.
No worries. Catch you later.